Brandon, if you want, you can also log in with your phone, and then with you could do both of them. So thank you, Cynthia, for that question. If you were to upload the assignment before or after class, so you can, yes, Nancy, the PDFs, you can upload them to the classroom, or you can also just send them over to me, and then we can review them. This Thursday, what we're going to do is we're going to do a workshop. And for those that couldn't get to your SWOT, we'll go over the SWOT, and we can all brainstorm and help you go over the that assignment. But Brandon, are you good?
All right, I'm good to go.
All right. Okay. So thank you everyone again for being here. Good afternoon. Yes. So let's begin. Again, this is Brandon Morris from JP Morgan Chase. He's one of our senior business consultants and is our partner with Chase for Business. Today's class is Business 201. Everyone should have received their workbook. I was able to get the workbook in English and in Spanish for those of you that want to look over it in Spanish as well. And so I will turn it over to Mr. Morris.
All right, Karina, thank you so much. And I'm sorry for all of the technical difficulties that I've been experiencing lately, but I think I might finally have everything worked out. So hope everybody is well. We're going to talk, we're going to bring it down to some of the basics today with Business 201. This is going to just make sure that we have a good foundation for running your businesses. Okay. Sometimes we open our businesses and it's built on straight passion. We fell into it because, we were able to, create some food, some delicacy, and people just went crazy over it. And we just started, we just opened the business from there. But we want to make sure that you have the correct infrastructure, in place so that you can, be put in a position for growth. Okay. So on page 6, we're going to cover thinking like an entrepreneur. We're going to cover establishing a foundation for business growth, developing agility and resiliency, putting your people first, and then basically, just the idea that you need to keep pushing. Okay. So thinking like an entrepreneur, a great business needs a great leader with the right mindset. You can all be that leader. So, they have an example here of the flywheel at the center of your business. And it says that, at first it's heavy and slow, but with every turn it spins faster. That's the momentum, and it's up to you as the leader to give your business the push it needs. So in reality, the company culture, what your company looks like, starts with you. Okay. And this is very important to understand. If you have an idea of what you want your company to look like and how you want it to operate, and it's not operating that way, then you have to start with looking at yourself. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be every single thing and fill every role for your company to be successful or for it to look and operate the way you want it to look and operate. However, you do have the responsibility of putting the right people in place and setting the tone at the top and allowing that tone to filter down to all of the people in your organization. Okay. So, typically with most of you in here, in the food, well, all of you in the food industry, but some of you have restaurants, brick and mortar. Some of you have catering companies. Some of you may have food trucks. You have to set the tone for what that business looks like and how it operates at the very, very top. You can't do that if you're spending all the time in the kitchen or you're spending all the time up front. You're spending all the time in any one place. But you have to instill those values in the people that you hire. You know, uh, page 11 says no single action results in success. It's those little things, you know, those little things that keep adding up that ultimately um, can end up being successful. Some ancient proverb: the fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. Okay. So, it's about you believing that you can grow as a person. Okay. So, listen, we should never want to stop learning. I don't care how much we all think we know. We should never want to stop learning. I know you might hear that from different motivational speakers and from different places, but just think about how significant that is. You know, the way we are operating restaurants today, the way we are operating food service businesses today are a little different, than when we were how we were operating them 10 years ago. Okay. But 5 years ago, before Uber Eats and DoorDash, um, obviously before the pandemic, things change, and you have to allow yourself the capacity and the bandwidth to grow and roll with those changes. Okay. Um, a fixed mindset holds people back. A growth mindset, um, just allows you that ability to adapt to the different situations that life brings you. Okay. So, here are some bullet points about personal growth leading to your business growth. Here are some of your characteristics. You embrace challenges, right? Don't run from a challenge. Just lean into it, right? It's the challenge is not going to go anywhere if you decide to ignore it. Okay, it's just going to, turn into a problem. Um, Persist in the face of setbacks. Do you realize a lot of the most successful people in business, they got that way from failing multiple times, right? I mean, they got that way from trying, multiple options, and the ones that didn't work, they really paid attention, took copious notes, and made the right adjustments until they found that solution that put them over the top. So expect setbacks, but learn from them and then grow from them. Um, View effort as a path to mastery. You know, um, you should be doing things consistently. Um, the more reps you put in, repetitions, the more practice you put in, the better you're going to become. And when you do a lot of practice, when you do something over and over and over again, it makes you, it allows you to make decisions kind of like just instantly. It makes you an expert, right? And an expert is someone who, when they see a problem that they've seen many times, they already have a pathway that's established to making that solution quicker. So it makes you look like a genius. Okay. But you're not going to do that until you put in those efforts. You learn from your criticism. I like to say it's feedback. Quite frankly, um, you want to hear from people. We touched on it a bit last time about having a system in place for feedback. You want to know what your customers are saying. You want to know what your employees are saying. And then you take that and you see how you can, make it better, or explain to the person exactly why it's the way it is, right? Look for lessons and inspiration in others. This is a great one, because there's a lot of great business owners out there. There's a lot of great people out there, and quite honestly, their success drives me, pushes me to want to be like them. So, I think it's really good if you were to pay attention to some of the titans in your industry, and look at what they're doing successful, and maybe start to mimic some of that. It all adds up to grit. You've got grit already. Now it's time to channel it for your business. So, which entrepreneurial concepts resonate most with you? Um, Finding your why, the flywheel, the hedgehog principle, a growth mindset, or grit. Who's really about the finding your why? Why you're doing something. Why did you start your food business?
That's a
Who's
question.
most
I was like, that's a question for anyone. Why did you start your food business? I know some
Well,
of you. Go ahead.
I initially started mine because someone bet me that I couldn't make money selling food, but I kept going because I wanted to share my culture with the community.
Nice.
nice? I
And
like
then
that.
Francesca said to provide healthy options.
Okay, that's good.
Money.
What?
Money. Of
That's
course.
how it.
Well,
That's how it. That's
Well,
how it started. That's how it
that's how,
started.
yes, yes. True story. True story. Some of us
But that came
start our
crashing down
business.
very quickly.
Yes, yes. Some of us start our businesses out of necessity, some pass down, um, some to leave a legacy, right?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Mine is to continue my family's legacy of the family business.
oh, very nice. Very nice. So, and that kind of goes a little bit into, I mean, there's a little bit of all of these principles that you all possess. Um, I hear a lot of, that growth mindset, because it may have started out with you wanting to make money, or started out that you wanted to leave the legacy, but it continues to grow from there, and it starts to mean more, you know? So it really does come down to knowing your purpose. Um, and people will be able to see that. People will be able to feel that, like your purpose, if it's strong enough, people can gain an appreciation for that when they taste your food, when they speak to you, when they speak to your employees, when they have the experience of being a patron in your establishment. Okay, so the worksheet has you writing down a few words or phrases that describes the purpose of your business. So, Karina, have they done this already, or is this something that
Yes.
they should?
So
Okay.
so this was a homework assignment, and I just want to call. Let me see who's here. Let's see who's here. Is Thaddeus on here? Houston, this is it. If not, if anyone wants to, Cynthia, I think you had turned yours in. If you want to say what your purpose, your mission, and your vision was. Cynthia, Colombia.
Hi there, Veronica here. Can I say
Oh,
something
yeah.
about this topic?
Yeah.
I struggle with these questions quite a bit. But if you ask me about my business, I could go on and on and on about all the reasons that I do what I do and all the things that we support. And it sounds like this really amazing thing. But when it comes down to answering this question and even understanding the difference between the purpose, the mission, and the vision, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And to me, they're all very much the same thing. And so I have a hard time distinguishing what the true difference is.
So go ahead, Brenda.
Well, okay. So your purpose is probably going to be pretty. Well, a lot of these answers are going to be probably pretty similar to a lot of your peers here, right? So what is your purpose? Your purpose in starting the restaurant or continuing the restaurant. Okay, so I heard someone say their purpose was to make money. Someone else said their purpose was to build legacy. Those are two different purposes, right? Because that's how it started, and when you went into it, that's what was on your mind. Your mission is a little bit more involved, where you're looking at the product itself and what you see, like what is it that you want to accomplish? Like, when you have a mission, like, okay, I'm going to get up today, I'm going to walk to the store. When I get to the store, I'm going to purchase these 5 items. That's my mission, is to purchase these 5 items. Okay, so if your mission is to purchase these 5 items, then typically you would have to create a plan to complete that mission. Okay, now the vision is, when I purchase those 5 items, I'm going to create the most magnificent something with those 5 items, and it's going to continue to impact people for generations to come. Okay, so there's a slightly different, everything is slightly different. Okay, the purpose is what got you started, pretty much. What got you going, what got you into it. The mission is, what you want to accomplish, like with a very closely tied to it, a plan of action. What is my plan of action to complete this mission? The vision is the impact of where you started with your purpose, what you wanted to accomplish with a mission, and then the resulting impact of everything, that vision, the future, what you want it to look like, what you want it to feel like, at the end of the day, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what's the growth? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So one way that someone had explained it to me too, is the vision is the impact you want to have on the world, basically, or on your community. And Veronica, I think you can even work your way backwards, like start with the vision, and then and then start with the vision, then move on to the mission, and then the purpose. Or you could do your purpose first, your vision, purpose, then mission.
Yeah. And I think that was, as Brandon was speaking, that was kind of what came to mind, is that one of the things that we always talk about in terms of our vision is we want something, or we're really trying to create an experience that transcends multiple generations, to where the grandparents can bring in the, their grandchild, or, the parents are bringing in their family when they come to visit, and everybody has a connection to what we're doing because they've experienced it in one way or another. So there's a little bit of familiarity in that.
Yep. And then Cynthia, I think you were able to come on.
Yes, I apologize. My son was screaming in the background, and so I didn't want everybody to be surprised by that. So I think both you and Brandon explained it very well, and now I may need to tweak both my vision, purpose, and mission. But simply put, our vision as Colombia, which is a fusion of Polish and Colombian food, is for people not to distance themselves or question or turn the other way when they see a fusion concept, but rather embrace the uniqueness, bold flavors, and venture into the unknown and try something new and different. Our hope is that each person feels a certain connection to a memory, whether that be travels, their upbringing, friends, or family members, and also spread the word to share this experience with others.
Very good. Very good. And then, so one of the reasons also we do this exercise, and Brandon can elaborate on this, is this is like your resume, also the beginning of your resume for your business. It's great to have it written down. It's great for marketing. It's great for creating, content around your purpose, your mission, and your vision, as well as going at, Media Kit, also going after loans. This is kind of like your cover page also. So.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and it helps you. It helps you also know where you're going, right? It gives you that spearhead of your vision into your business and where you want to go.
Yeah. Has anyone ever heard of a capability statement? No? Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes,
yes.
of course.
Yes, I have one, and I sent it in to Francesca.
Okay. All right,
Yep.
good. Well, your capability statement is your one pager. It's like a resume. It's like a personal resume, or it's a resume on your business. The information that you find on a capability statement typically draws from your purpose, your mission, and your vision. Okay. All of this for corporations or government entities that you're trying to procure contracts from. That's a way for you to communicate with them without being in front of them. Okay. When you expand that in like your strategy or your business plan, that's when you can kind of go into more specifics to help keep you focused. I like writing things down in a plan and visiting it from time to time, because you don't want to just tuck it away and never look at it again. But every couple of months you want to revisit it and make sure that you're staying focused, or if things in the industry has changed, you can make slight tweaks to that plan. Okay. Another reason why the plan is good to have written down is you should all be looking at growing your capacity, meaning hiring new people, going after larger deals, just growing, making the business more self-sustainable over time. And when you write it down, the people that you bring in, the people that you're training to get into more leadership positions, they have something that they can be held accountable to. Like, you set the culture at the top. You as the leader, you set the culture, you set the plan. This is what it is. So it's really good to write it down. I mean, like in slide 20, you define your mission. I mean, the people who work for you need to understand what the mission is, right? Because when you put the mission up there, then you can kind of work backwards and say, okay, so how are we going to accomplish the mission? Think, if for all of my movie watchers, think Mission Impossible. Okay. I have what is it? I have a job for you if you choose to accept it. Right. So this is the mission. And then what Tom Cruise has to do is come up with a plan, something elaborate in his case, that's going to accomplish that mission. Okay. Writing down the vision and making sure that it's something that everyone in your organization can see. This is what we want to ultimately accomplish. Like, this is how we want to ultimately be viewed. When you give people vision, that's giving people inspiration, and that's giving them an anchor that you can help to inspire them and to be as inspired as you are. Okay. If your people aren't vested, at least emotionally, or in a lot of these same ways that you're invested, then you're going to really have some issues when it comes to the quality of your customer service, because it's not coming from you, it's coming from your people. If they just look at it as, oh, I'm just here, as opposed to, caring about it for whatever reason, right? Like, I know it's a job, but maybe this is something that you can use to teach them about responsibility and accountability to get them ready for their next job or for that next opportunity in life, right? So, but it starts with getting it down on paper, writing it down somewhere, having it visible somewhere. Okay. So on page 24, they have some tips for writing your purpose, your vision, and your mission. Obviously get it on paper, focus on big ideas, evoke emotion, it's really important. Imagine the future, use your imagination. Look at what technology, where it's going now. Look at how the buying trends are now. And, try to predict where it's going to be headed so you can get in front of it. Okay. And be concise. This is important too. Don't be ambiguous. Don't just, oh, I want to do something like this. No, I want to do this, this, and this. And really, really be precise, because that gives you a solid, fixed goal to shoot for. Okay. And then look, everyone on this call should have a trusted group of advisors to give you input. Okay. Things you can run by people and actually get valid, feedback from. Okay. It could be, anybody, but, be careful in choosing the right people. Okay. One thing that I used to say to people when I was doing business consulting in a former role for myself, actually, for another program, and I was working with some startups, and one of the things that I would really try to get them to understand is, when you're around people who aren't entrepreneurs, you have to be careful of their skepticism and their negativity. Okay. Not all of them are going to be saying things that are in your best interest. They may not understand what you're doing. They probably would say, hey, why don't you just go and get a job at a restaurant? It's so much easier. You're going to get a check on the 1st and 15th. You're going to, you're going to have money there, right? You don't have to worry about paying yourself or anything like that, right? And I mean, that could start to weigh on you, your energy. So just be careful of your I call them your circles of influence, or your centers of influence. Okay. Think about your profit. Uh, your vision isn't possible without profit. Now, look, and y'all are all making money in your businesses. Okay. But you should know by now that you can't just make some grandiose decision without properly vetting it and making sure that it's going to be profitable, because you'll end up wasting a lot of time, wasting money, and wasting energy that you need to continue to build the business in an effective way. So you need to get comfortable with your numbers, reading your numbers, understanding your numbers, and being disciplined, about your spending, about your projections, things of that nature. Profitability, fuels growth. Profit can help you focus on what matters. Okay. So, think about how important that profit is. Karina, have they done their SWOT analysis?
So that was part of homework. Oops, sorry. Oh my God, this thing goes by really fast. So that was part of our homework assignment as well. Did anyone do your SWOT analysis and wants to share? Cynthia said yes. Anyone else other than Cynthia? Or we could just voluntold the business. Nancy said she did her SWOT. Do I have Who else is on here? The Bomb Brownies or Jeanette? Or let's see. The Bomb Brownies. Did you all do your SWOT? Or we could just use that example of the Bomb Brownies. Strength, weakness, or who can tell me what SWOT is? Let's just go back. Who can tell me what SWOT means?
Strength, opportunity, threats, and weaknesses.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Yes. So the Bomb Brownies, what are some of your business strengths? Anyone? Are they here? It says it's logged in. I have trouble unmuting. Okay, let me see. I can unmute you. I don't know how to unmute people. I can mute you. I just don't know how to unmute you. Okay, Jeanette, let's do yours. Yours is the Buenos Dias Cafe. Is that correct? Jeanette? Oh.
While we're waiting on Jeanette, I just want to tell everyone how important this is. And you should not just do a SWOT analysis on your business, but you should also do one on yourself. Now, there may be, there may be some overlap, but I'm gonna tell you why it's also important to do one on yourself. I want you to be very realistic with who you are. And typically, if you are really realistic about who you are and you just get it down on paper in the SWOT analysis, then you can start to look at how to overcome the places where you're weak, how to build on the places where you're strong, how to invest more into the opportunities that you have identified, and then how to manage the threats that can come into your situation on the personal and the business side, right? Okay, so on the personal side, just for example, and this is like I know someone who is extremely intelligent and he's a go-getter. I mean, he does all these great things, but one of the threats is that when he likes to hang out. He's single, and so he goes out and he stays up until like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes when he comes into the next day into a business situation, he doesn't look sharp and he doesn't sound sharp. So it starts to take away from his overall value. Okay. So if he sees this and he puts it down on paper and he starts to realize the impact that this could be making on his career, then maybe he can better manage his going out expectations. Okay, well, maybe I don't need to stay out until 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. It's okay. I'll still be, in the cool crowd if I stay out until 11 and then, cut it short, get some sleep and be fresh in the morning. Right. That's just an example. And no, it's not me because I don't like going out.
Thaddeus, are you on here? Houston, this is it?
I don't think so.
No, it says
yes. I'm here.
Yes. Okay. How about I wanted to do your business as an example for a SWOT. Have you ever done a SWOT for your business?
Yeah, it was some time ago.
Okay. How long ago?
Oh, I mean, it was about 5-6 years ago. It was a while.
Okay. Let's try it. So let's talk about. So your business is located in Houston, Texas. It has a long legacy. Over how many years again?
64.
Over 64 years. So that's a lot of rolling with the punches, right? You're going from generations to generations of customers, and so that I think it's an important analysis to do either, every 4 years, every 5 years. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about your strengths, and then we'll go into weaknesses and opportunities and then threats. So just give me like 3 examples of some of your strengths of your business.
Okay, our strengths would definitely be our legacy for sure. 64 years of business, that definitely does carry weight. I would say another one of our strengths would be our food for sure. That's what keeps people coming back. And I would probably say what another strength of ours is our reach in the community.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So food, legacy, and community outreach. Okay. What about what would you define as some of your weaknesses?
Some of our weaknesses would probably be just probably some, I wouldn't say lack of business knowledge, but just business knowledge for sure. Financial knowledge, I'll throw that in there as well. And then I'd probably say family dynamics.
What do you mean by family dynamic?
I would say that because it's multiple people involved in this business. Sometimes people's opinions don't match, and then you have I don't want to say fallouts, but you do have issues that come from that.
So decision making, there's multiple decision makers.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. And then what else? What about opportunities?
So
whether internal or external. Oh, sorry, external opportunities.
All right. As far as when you say external, do you mean like something not including the business, or?
It's including the business. So external considerations, you don't entirely control these opportunities or threats, but you can choose. What is it? You can choose to move your business towards or away from them. So market trends, economic trends, funding, demographics, relationships with suppliers and partners, political environments. Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Well, we definitely have a lot of opportunities. We just opened up another restaurant in Humble, which is probably about 30 minutes away from our current location. And just how you kind of said to demographics and all that, that kind of, gears all that towards that. So that would be one opportunity. Another opportunity would be a partnership that Houston First reached out to us about in regards to becoming a tourist attraction on their site and through their program. So that's another opportunity that we have. And to be honest, I would say this whole Feed the Soul is probably a good opportunity for us as well.
What about threats? What threats could you anticipate or currently have or can foresee? And threats?
Yeah, I would definitely say the threats is the rising cost of food. I think everybody has that issue. Another threat, what I would probably say would probably be just finding employment. We're finding staff. And then I probably would say our last threat would be I think.
I think that's good.
Okay.
What do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, you don't have to if it's not something that that comes to mind. It may not be something that is a strong enough threat, right? So you don't want to, force anything. But I think that was a good SWOT analysis. So I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, no problem.
And the fact that you're right here in Houston, I'd love to, follow up with you.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'd love to sit down and talk with you.
Yes. Okay. Well, we will have more time for whoever wants to brainstorm again Thursday. If you have not done your SWOT analysis, we can get together. I will send out an invite also for those that want to do it on Thursday as well. So, all right. Thank you so much for sharing that.
So when we look at a good foundation, how many of you in here are sole proprietors? We have any sole proprietors in here?
Yes,
I think I saw
Cynthia
one.
said, yeah, one.
Okay.
The brown brownies.
Okay. How many people are set up as a C Corp? Anyone? Okay. Arcade.
One,
Okay. Got a
two,
couple of people.
three. Yep.
All right.
5.
All right. Cool. Any S Corps? I think I saw somebody say they're an S Corp. All right. All right. Okay. And any partnerships? Okay. All right. Good, good. And of course, I'm sure they have a lot of LLCs in here, correct? See, as you can see, you can be a couple of different, you can be set up a couple of different ways because your setup with your structure is significant, in two main ways. One, from a federal, well, a state and local government standpoint, I should say, what protections you have in those particular state and local areas that you're set up in, whether you're a partnership or an LLC or S Corp or anything like that. And then from the IRS standpoint, how you're taxed. Okay. So, the way you're set up allows you to, be more flexible in some cases, to have more control in some cases, to limit your liability, and to be quite honest with you, to get more financing. And that's one thing that we can delve deeper into, at a later point. But a lot of people don't realize that how you're set up can definitely affect what type of loans you're able to qualify for. All right, so your sole proprietorships, typically you have one owner. It's a little bit cheaper to set up, but you have 100% control. Not a lot of natural protections because since you are the person who owns the business under a sole proprietorship, your personal, it's easier to get to your personal assets if something were to happen. And of course, you got to pay payroll taxes and you can deduct the expenses. Partnership, you have multiple owners. Typically from a tax standpoint, you file K-1s. Simple, low cost setup. You share the control. Now, remember, you should have, anytime that you own a business with multiple people, you should definitely do your own partnership agreement, which is a separate document that will, articulate what the accountability measures are for each partner, conflict resolution measures, all sorts of things in there. Compensation. In a partnership, the partners are personally liable, of course. And they know you have to be on payroll, but you can deduct expenses. C Corp, you can have multiple shareholders. Okay. The setup can be a little complex. So you definitely want to have an attorney involved with setting it up. You can have a board of directors that can control the company. But because of this, the owners aren't personally liable. So you do have that extra layer of protection from litigation on a personal side. But you could potentially be double taxed, which is not always the worst thing in the world. But that's an aspect of it. S Corps, you can have multiple shareholders as well. again, it's pretty complex. A lot of the similar things of a C corp, but you don't have any corporate taxes. The entity itself is not typically taxed. The profits pass through as distributions to all the shareholders, and that's where the tax liability comes into play. And of course, your LLC, which all of the owners are can fully participate as a functioning producer in the LLC. The owners are protected from liability for the most part. I wouldn't just 100% go with that, but yeah, you do have a certain level of protection as an owner, and you don't have any limits to how many shareholders you can have, and earnings are passed on to the owners. B corporations, any business structure can certify as a B Corp. Certification is a public commitment to do good for people, communities, and the environment. So you typically see, in the green space that we live in today, more B Corps coming into play. All right. And see, Corinna, did they do their workbook?
Yes. So this was page 17 on their workbook, but I don't think we put this as homework. But I did have a question that comes up a lot, and it's how do you know for sure what structure is right for your business? Because we have a lot of LLCs, which offsets some of that liability. Not, some of us, again, start our businesses with our own money, our own credit. And so are we an S Corp? Are we better off an LLC? And given the fact that some of us are small businesses that might not be making in the millions, or, and also some of us, I know, wanted to do good in terms of wanting to give our employees to be shareholders of the company. But does that really benefit us? Or, so there's this constant back and forth on what is the right structure. So I'm going to throw it to you, Brandon. It's a heated question. I know.
Well, and it's a very good question. Unfortunately, it's complicated from the standpoint of there's not going to be any just one answer. Okay, you really have to evaluate the nature of your business and see what works best for your type of business. So there's 26 businesses in here. There may be 26 different answers that make sense for each of those particular businesses. Okay, but I will say this. Okay, just to kind of be to put it more so on a high level and to give you some kind of comfort. Each of you in here should, sooner than later, hopefully like sooner, retain the services of an attorney and retain the services of a tax professional, a CPA, or an accountant. Okay, and then, of course, talk to your local banker, whether you're banking with Chase or whoever you're banking with. Okay, those are the three main influencers that you should be leaning on when you're asking these questions. And I'm going to tell you why. A business attorney, let me specify, a business attorney. Now, I'm not saying go to your cousin who does personal injury, and just because you have a business and they can do it, though they think they can do it, you just go to them. Okay, no. You want to go to an attorney that's all they do all day, every day, is work with businesses, contracts, setting up things for businesses, partnership agreements, things of that nature. Someone who has a ton of experience. You talk to them because they can give you examples that may match what your business looks like. Okay. And then give you the whole story on what they were looking to accomplish. Okay. So that's why it's great to talk to an attorney when it comes to setting up a business. Then you want to talk to your CPA or your accountant. Why? Because how you pay your taxes and the amount of taxes you pay falls squarely on mostly on the way you're structured. So that's going to be very important. You don't want to get surprised, and it's very important to be in good standings with the federal government. And then your banker, it's extremely important that you talk to your banker because it takes money to make money. Okay. Some of you want to get into a brick and mortar. Some of you want to buy some additional equipment. Some of you want to get more marketing dollars and everything like that. And oftentimes we as entrepreneurs, especially, early on, or if we're not quite sure of how the money system works, we're not really motivated, I should say, to go into a branch and talk to a banker for fear that, there might be embarrassment or might not completely understand what they're saying. It could be many things, right? But it's important that you go. And if you have questions, then talk to a different banker and test the information that one banker told you over another banker. But speaking to a banker is important because since you need the money to grow, a banker can tell you some of the things that you need to know and how to file your taxes. For restaurants, this is the structure we like to see. Things of that nature, right? You're looking to get advice from experts, right? No one person has all of the answers. Okay. But when you sit down and you talk about, so for instance, okay, I'm just going to give a random general example. I see a lot of people that come into the bank that want to get a loan to grow, and they can't because when they filed their taxes, they didn't talk to their CPA. They just asked their CPA to file the taxes. And the CPA just automatically assumes that you're looking to not pay any taxes or pay as little in taxes as possible, right? Like who can, first of all, who can identify with that? Like when you file your taxes, you don't want to pay taxes. You want to pay as little as possible, right? Okay. We're clapping. Okay. All right. All right. Now, oftentimes, for you to not pay that much in taxes, then you have to show a ton of losses and probably a loss without being profitable, right? So instead of your profits being a good, strong, positive number, it shows that you lost money on paper. Okay. Well, yeah, you may save a few $1,000s in taxes, right? But you've all but killed your opportunity to get money for expansion. Because most credible lenders, most lenders that are affordable, they look at your tax returns as one of the largest and most important documents to qualify you for a loan. So if, let's just say, two scenarios, if you did your taxes, and even though you did about $1 million, $2 million in sales and everything, you wrote off everything under the sun. You even, fudged a little bit, and it shows that you only made $100. Well, if you go into a bank, to a lender, okay, you can tell them you made all this money, but on paper, you only made $100. So how am I supposed to qualify you for $100,000 or $200,000 to get a new restaurant, or $75,000 to get a new food truck, or $25,000 to get a new piece of cooking equipment, if it only shows that you made $100 on your tax returns, right? So think about that. Yes, you didn't have to pay a few $1,000s to the government because you showed that you only made $100. But you also messed yourself out of getting affordable financing for what you wanted to invest in your business. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand that you're going to have to pay the piper, right? Like, if you pay a few $1,000s in taxes, that could put you in a position to possibly get some financing that'll help you make hundreds of thousands of dollars more than you were making before. You know, so this is the strategies. These are the strategies that you want to discuss with those centers of influence I just named: your attorney, your accountant or CPA, and your banker. Be very, very comfortable with talking to your CPA and your accountant. Don't just have them file your taxes and have them assume. Tell them what you're looking to accomplish. And when you have that draft, go to your banker and have them take a look at it and say, hey, look, for what I'm trying to do in the next 6 months, these tax returns look pretty good to you. They'll be honest with you. Like, no, don't do that. Okay. Anyway.
Yes. No,
That's
thank you. That
my
was,
answer.
I'm so glad you said that. Sometimes we want to pay the least in taxes, but we're shooting ourselves in the foot if we want to go after money and affordable financing. Another thing too, y'all have access to your personal one-on-one financial advisor. If you haven't spoken to Ryan, I think most of you have. Ask him that question. Ask him, hey, can you assess, am I in the right tax bracket? And he'll flat out tell you. He'll be very honest with you. And so you have that resource. So that's step one. So, okay. So we have a couple more minutes. Let's see. I think this is part. What's next, Brandon?
Okay, so page 37. All right, being organized and making sure that you have the right, I don't know, you have the right processes and procedures in place. You're operating out of the right space. You have a great customer support system, and that when I hear customer support system, I mean, I just hear it's very easy for customers to pay. It is it has some type of customer feedback system built in, things of that nature. Develop a file storage and sharing system, manage the books properly. We touched on that a little bit. Schedule things effectively and plan for your taxes. Map processes and workflows. Again, this is what you want to put on paper. You should not be the only person that is working your business efficiently. You need to start training people to work just as efficiently as you do in your business. And in order to do that, you need to have those processes and procedures on paper and make sure that they study them and that they learn them, and then you quiz them on them, and you either incentivize or you penalize for not knowing what the processes and procedures are. Because guess what? The less that they know, the less professional it looks to your customer. Your customer is not going to have an appreciation for it. I want to use some, established models, but that everybody's heard of. But I don't want you to. The first reaction I don't want you to have is, hey, they're a big corporate restaurant entity, right? They are, but they had to get to that point somehow. And how they got to that point is being efficient now. In where y'all are as the quote unquote, small business owners and mom and pop shops, you start putting those habits in place now. And that's how you experience the growth to get to a Chick-fil-A where they have a system that is really, really solid. If you want to one day franchise, yes, everything has to be consistent across each location. I went out to Eddie V's last night. That's one of my favorite restaurants. Why do I go to Eddie V's? Because I can go to Eddie V's here. I can go to the one in the Woodlands. I can go to the one in Dallas. I can go to the one in Atlanta. And it's going to be exactly the same. I can get what I expect. Okay. So that happens because you have a very, very tight workflow and documented processes and procedures. There is no creativity. There is no ambiguity. There is no venturing off the plan. You stick to the plan for everybody. You analyze those processes. This is the time that you put those processes in place now so that you can, you do it for a week or two or a month or whatever, and you analyze the data. Okay, where are you slowing down? Where are the mistakes being made? Where are we dropping the ball? Okay. And then that's when you start to, make your corrections. You make the changes based on the data. Don't guess, right? Like you should be running your business with precision, not with, it feels like this, so I'm going to make this change. That may not, how it feels may not be what the data says, right? You're business owners, and business comes down to dollars and cents, right? So you have to look at all of the effects and the impact on the dollars and the cents, on the numbers, the data, right? If I know everyone is not quote unquote a numbers person, I get it. Okay, I get it. But this is where you help build a team. You build a team of people to help you with aggregating the data and then analyzing it and then making decisions. And like I said from the very beginning, we should never stop learning. So just because you're not a numbers person today does not mean you need to stay not a numbers person forever.
And you also have a workbook assignment, page 21 in your workbook, to help you kind of map that out on the people that you need in order to create that infrastructure that you need. Some of you have big teams, some of you don't have big teams, but what would that look like if you do have a big team? Are they efficiently working? What other support do you need in order to execute your business as well? And if you have a small team or no team at all, what would that look like for your business if you were fully staffed, if you needed XYZ in terms of resources and cost structure too? Like how much would a social media manager cost you realistically, and how would you plan for something like that? So that is business model canvas chart in terms of operations. And then part 3, this is our last, go ahead.
Let me just say, the business model canvas is critical. Look, listen, please, everyone fill this out. I'm asking. And if you don't quite understand what a section means, like if you're not quite sure what cost structure means, just ask, and we'll give you the examples. But this will tell you such a great snapshot of where you are with your business if you fill this out. I'm very serious. Okay.
And one more comment too. You, and I think I said this during our onboarding, you get out of this program as much as you put in. And so you can choose not to do these homework assignments, but again, you're hurting yourself because these are resources that are probably vital to your business. So
all right. So we all see how important it is to, be able to adapt, right? Business agility. So let me just ask you this. Out of these things, build a bigger cash buffer, secure new capital, improve cybersecurity, find new customers, invest in tools and equipment to meet future needs, and strengthen business relationships. Who feels that building a bigger cash buffer is the most important thing out of all of these? I didn't see any reactions or hands. Who feels that strengthening business relationships is the most important thing out of all of these? Okay, all right. Who feels that finding new customers is the most important thing? Okay, all right. Who feels that securing new capital is the most important thing? Oh, no hands. Y'all are hurting my heart. All right, remember you're talking to a banker here.
Okay, we saw like three. Securing.
3? Okay.
Securing.
75% of business owners anticipate a need for financing to fund continued growth and expecting those funds to be put towards purchasing inventory, working capital, and hiring. People, you really, really should not be using your own money to grow your business, okay? And when I say using your own money, you want to try to avoid having to use simply your profits to grow your business. Okay, it's hard enough to make the profits. You don't want to have to use them all the time. You're trying to create buffers in life. Okay, that's where capital comes into play. Use other people's money to grow your business. All right, you want to invest in technology. You know, one of the coolest things. I can't remember where I was, but it was a restaurant I was at recently, and I see more restaurants doing this, where instead of taking my card to go and run the transaction and bringing it back to me to sign, instead of me having to get up and go to the front and wait for someone to get on a cash register and check me out, they have the terminals that the waitresses walk around with your bill right there. You know, they can print it out for you to read if you want, but it's right on the screen. You know, I put the card in myself. They don't even have to touch my card anymore. I just put my card in myself, pay for it, sign, boom, I'm out. When I get up, I'm walking out. I mean, just making it so much easier, technology, just making it so much easier to take my money, you know. Protect your business from cyber threats. You know, large companies aren't the only ones vulnerable. Hackers are interested in stealing from any easy target they can find. So again, I believe that those terminals are safer when it comes to protecting your data. You know, typically only the larger banking institutions offer them. Credible banking institutions offer them. But when you do have people working with technology, you know, your POS systems and things of that nature, you need to make sure that they're constantly being trained and educated. Okay. I mean, I used to work for a restaurant, you know, a long time ago. We would have morning powwow meetings, you know, every day. And that was really helpful because when we wanted to learn not only about, you know, what's the menu item changes of the day or whatever, you know, anything from a technology standpoint. Hey, gather around. Does everybody know what this function means? Does everybody know what not to do? You know, I mean, you have to protect your shrinkage as well. Plus, you know, if people start stealing your customers' information, you're leaving yourself open for you know, to get sued. So you have to be careful. So you want to always assess your vulnerabilities, pay attention to emails. I hope that and that's really one of the, I'm not going to say more clever ways people get in, but it's something that people don't pay attention to. It's like they'll see an email and they're in a hurry, you're in the weeds, but it looks important and you just click on it. And when you click on it, you're just starting to open the door to having data stolen from your database, you know. So be careful about that. You know, review your payment.
Sorry, Savvy Bistro, you had your hand up. Did this happen to you?
No, I'm driving and it had my hand up by mistake. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Has anyone had cybersecurity breaches? Anyone? Either email or, okay, Francesca says yes. M&R Catering. Francesca, you want to, Calvin, does anyone want to tell us really quickly what happened and how you mitigated it and how you've put in certain procedures to avoid that happening again?
I'll jump in, Karina. So my cybersecurity breach was my credit card was hacked just a few weeks ago, and with that, I didn't realize that it was breached at first until my statement came. So one, starting paying attention to my my statements or my business instead of waiting monthly, being more present. And what I had to do was to put a stop for that particular card and get another one and did a two verification process on limits of a certain amount to help make sure that I don't have that issue
Got it.
in the
See, this
future.
is why bookkeeping is so important to avoid and to catch those. But I'm glad you caught it a month later. Has anyone ever done this inventory, tech inventory? This is also helpful. It should be part of your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, but with technology changing and all of you having to manage all those iPads and tablets, this is a really good tool as well to have written down.
Yeah. All right. Using digital banking is very important. So that's, kind of going to those pay terminals that I was describing. Um, you know, use your online apps and online portals. Um, you know, set up reoccurring payments if you can. Um, monitor your accounts constantly, like constantly. Uh, Make sure that you get data on customers and cash flow. This is good for you being able to provide really great customer service for them. The more data you can get on your customers.
I have a quick
And
question.
sure.
This sorry, Savvy B, sure. This is in line with the cybersecurity, but mine's is more so on the chargeback. So I know when it comes to the banks now, or the credit card processing, when a customer comes in, they say the customer has to use the I think the tap, like insert the chip in order to be charged back. I had a scenario where the customer had a card and for some reason it kept saying that they use a chip, but yet it kept saying that the card was manually entered in, and we had 1 month maybe about $1,000 in chargeback, and we kept trying to fight it with the banks, and they were not buying it at all. So that's one thing where we do have a challenge on is a lot of chargebacks. And there's no perfect way to, let's say, to stop that bleeding on a monthly basis.
Did you say the chargebacks? It was $1,000 worth of chargebacks, or 1,000
Yes,
transactions
no, $1,000. So we literally have like one month that was the highest, like about close to $1,000 in 1 month
on
chargebacks.
chargebacks? And
Mhm.
yours are in restaurant, right? These are not. And
Yes,
I've spoken
in
to
restaurant.
Ivy. Okay, in restaurant, and I've spoken to Ivy Purpose too, where it was when they were using the QR codes, and they were using fraudulent cards, and then the bank would do a chargeback on those. So great question. I don't know, Brendan, if you have any knowledge on how to mitigate some of those. I think one of the things that we did suggest, or even with Ivy Purpose, was having your staff check ID along with the card, and then having people literally sign as well, and then taking off the QR codes for payment as well.
Okay, because I remember that because it's a funny thing because that transaction that happened it was one customer for like $700, and when they came in, I just felt uneasy because they said that they'll pick up another person's tab, and I asked for ID. I took the card. I think it didn't have a chip, but I made sure I tapped it. And then literally a month later, I'm getting an email saying a chargeback, and they're saying that I keyed it in. I'm saying I did not key it in. So they still took the money back.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. I know some of your POS systems you can do the card in. Yeah, that one's tricky though. Brandon?
Yeah, I would just say look at the particular bank that you're going through, and make sure that you have a good relationship with your rep through that bank, so that you can better troubleshoot these things potentially before they happen. I know that, and again, I know things happen, but as it's happening, you want to make sure that you're in communication with your bank so they can start monitoring it, right then and there, and then maybe they can start fixing whatever's going on, or make suggestions on how to fix whatever's going on before it gets, to the end of the month, right? Um, I'm a big believer in communication with, especially with anybody who has any type of dominion over my money. So
Okay.
that would be my, yeah. Um,
Sorry, we have a couple more minutes because it's already at 3:20. Other than digital banking and using credit cards to manage cash flow.
I think the main thing is, for that last section, just when it comes to being about the people, take care of your people, right? Like, your employees are are that's your front line. That's your representation right there. Uh, Take care of them. Find different ways to incentivize them. The way that an employee feels appreciated isn't always just how much money you throw at them. Sometimes it's just little forms of them knowing that you care, that you are invested in them in some other ways. You know, there can be other ways that you can really help compensate your employees without having to, break your own personal, pocketbooks. So I want to really, say that that's really important. And then for everyone on here, um, who is, you know, minority owned business, a woman owned business, a veteran owned business, get your certifications. Okay, get your certifications. Okay, you can get certified through the National Minority Supplier Development Council. You can get certified by your local Office of Business Opportunities in each of your local markets, and by the cities that you live in. Um, get certified by the state, um, and get certified by the federal government. Get into the SBA database, get your cage code, and then apply for the 8A program. Why am I saying this? Those are opportunities for easy money. Contract opportunities come up all of the time, and they're looking for certified businesses to take part in these contracts. Whenever your local municipality has a large event, they need a caterer. Okay, great. Whenever you have an army base that needs food services, great. I think someone asked about the SBA program. It's called the 8A program. um, once you get approved for that program, you're in it for 9 years. That's 9 years. 8A, yes, it's 9 years of what they call contract set asides, meaning those are contracts that aren't put out to general bid for everybody in the U.S. They're only for the few people who are certified in the 8A program. And then once you get these certifications, 8A and minority owned and woman owned, they call them by acronyms the MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, or MWBE, Minority Woman Business Enterprise. Um, SBA has SBE, Small Business Enterprise. But whenever you get these, then you network. You still have to get out there and network, which means that you still need to have a an infrastructure in place with your restaurants, with your catering businesses, to where people are empowered to take leadership roles, so that you can go and continue to work on your business, work on building your business instead of constantly working in your businesses. So yeah, that's what I would leave you with today.
And next week, we're going to be going over all of the vendors that he just spoke about, the certificates as well. And then we'll have a workshop where you actually get to begin filling out those forms. Brandon also has a great resource to pay for the certificate. Is that correct also?
Yeah, if so some people likes to use people to do the certifications for them. I mean, that's fine. If you feel like you don't have time. I'm a big believer in you doing it yourself, just because you get to learn the process. Because once you do it the first time, they typically last for either a year or 2 years, and it's nothing to recertify. You just kind of go through all of the different screens in the application, and just if everything is the same, you just click the same. The only thing you have to upload is different is your most recent tax returns.
And we'll send out a list. Yes. Well, yeah, Nancy, we'll send out the list of all the certifications that he just spoke about. But you will need a couple of documents, not for next week. I mean, it is for next week, but later on Thursday, and we'll pull those. But on the 7th, we will learn about all the vendor opportunities as well.
Yeah, I'll go into deep detail on those.
Yes. All right. So ready to update your business plan, update your executive summary, reconsider your competitive landscape, describe your legal structure, reimagine your strategies for marketing and selling to your customers. This was all part of Business 201. And we have just one last poll. And if I put up a couple of polls, if you guys can just answer those as well. And then Brandon, I don't know if you want to close with anything, any remarks, any questions.
Listen, please do not be shy. You should all have my email address. If you have questions that you want to ask me offline, I'm more than happy to answer them. But this is for you. This is for your business growth. So take advantage. This is a great program. Take advantage.
Sharon had a question.
Sure.
Sharon, are you still here?
Well, it comes up to Maisha. This is about the homework assignment. Do I just upload it? Because I got a call from someone else too saying sign something with the consultant for this assignment. So that's
I think that might be your financial advisor. That might be something different.
So they're two separate things. Okay.
Yes.
So this I can just upload the page that I just uploaded,
yes.
right?
Or you can email it to me. And then everyone is going to get their own classroom for their business, and we can throw that, upload that also.
You haven't sent that yet. Okay.
No, not
all right.
yet. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And M&R Catering, yes, you can absolutely schedule a session with Brandon.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, shoot me an email. Anyone who is interested in meeting with me one-on-one, shoot me an email so we can coordinate schedules, and I'll set up a Zoom link when you have time and when I have time, and we'll go over whatever you want to go over. That's what I'm here for. I'm literally here to help businesses grow. So take advantage.
Okay. If no one else has any more questions, we can close for the day. And I will send out the invite for a SWOT session as well, if anyone wants to brainstorm for a SWOT analysis of your business.
Great, sounds good.
And then one more question. Do we know who Chin, I think?
Corey Chen.
Corey Chen. What business are you with?
I'm with Roast Deli and Social Bar, or Madam Fortune.
I'm sorry, which one?
Roast Deli and Social Bar, or Madam Fortune. I'm not sure what it's under. It might be under 7th Hospitality Group.
7th and Grove?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you. All right, we'll see you all next week. I mean, Thursday. Some of you Thursday or whoever. But for sure, we'll see everyone next Monday. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you so
Take
much.
care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye, Karina.
Bye.